Hey everyone, I'm here today to share another new wig with you guys. This is Amal by Rene of Paris in the color Chestnut. And I would like to thank Wig Studio 1 for sending me this one to review. I am a guest reviewer for Wig Studio 1, and so this is another in my guest reviews. I have a lot to say about Amal, so I'm going to try to keep the beginning part of this video very concise for those of you who just want to look at the wig and know a few little specs about her. But then if you want my kind of extended opinion about Amal, please stick around because I'd like to share some tips and tricks and some things that I've observed. So let's just start off with Wig Studio 1 is an online retailer, and they are a fabulous resource for purchasing wigs. If you go to their website and when you buy a wig, you put in the code BEAUTIFULYOU, you'll get 30% off Amal as well as a number of other wigs. So a lot of the wigs on their website are eligible for the coupon. There are a few that aren't though, and you'll be able to figure that out once you're on the website. Another thing that Wig Studio 1 offers is an online support group through its Facebook page, or Facebook group I should say, and that is Wig Studio 1 Wig and Topper Support Group. So please check that out for wig wearing support and just support from wig sisters like me who like to share their experience, answer questions. So it's a great online resource as well. All right, so Rene of Paris Amal in the color Chestnut. So this color is so beautiful. It's a very, very dynamic auburn with hints of medium copper red. So it's like coarsely blended with medium copper red. Looks like, you know, pretty decently blended highlights. So pretty. I will get you guys outside so you can see this in outside light. That will be on the end of this video as well. So let's just talk about Amal. So Amal is a basic cap wig, which means that she doesn't have any lace front, any monofilament, just your standard basic cap, which also means that this is a bit of a lower price point. So if you go to the Wig Studio 1 website, as of the filming of this, the price you would pay for her with that Beautiful You coupon code is $125.30. That's how much she costs today on the Wig Studio 1 website with that coupon. So that is a very, very reasonable price. For that though, you aren't getting some of those fancy cap features, which is some of the things I want to talk about a little bit later in this video. But for those of you who just want to see her, here's a look. She's very layered. She has nice long layers, kind of flippy, piecey layers, a little bit textured. There's a tiny, tiny bit of wave that adds to the texture at the end of the layers, as you can see, especially back here. Just adds a bit of style to this piece. So she's a layered bob is essentially what she is. She does have a side swept fringe that is not a full bang. This one would be super, super easy to cut a bang into, which for those of you who really like lace fronts, because this one doesn't have a lace front, one of the things you could do would be to cut a bang into her, which would be really easy to do. You can kind of see that there. Really easy to do. She does have permatease, so there's permatease all up here on the cap. There really isn't much in the way of permatease all around the rest of the cap. So the permatease pretty much lives right up here, which is necessary in a wig that doesn't have any monofilament, because there has to be a way to hide the cap. So with a mono top or a mono part, you can, the monofilament gives the illusion of scalp, and the hair is tied into that and it looks like it's growing out of your scalp. Without that, there has to be a way to disguise that permatease. So, or to hide the fibers in the cap, which is permatease. One of the challenges that I had with Amal in the beginning is that she does have some visible permatease. So I am going to talk about that a little bit and what I did to combat that. But before I get there, because again, for some of you, you just want to kind of see Amal in action and check her out, I'll talk about that in a minute then. So nothing here to disguise the cap except for the way that the hair fibers lay. The fibers are laying really, really well in the front here, and so I've got no concern that you can tell that this is a wig. So I don't feel the need to cut a bang into her, but you might, and so that's why I wanted to kind of talk about that. Something else that I want to point out is her coverage. So she has really good coverage. The ear tabs go really, really low, and there's a lot of hair fibers sewn into the ear tabs. So that does a lot to disguise the cap. She definitely is tuckable. As you can see, when I tuck her, you can see a little bit of my bio hair. That is not a lot of bio hair to show on me. Many wigs, I have a lot more bio hair showing on this one, so the coverage is really, really good. But one thing I just want to quickly point out is this is so easy to disguise unless you've purchased a wig that is dramatically different than your bio hair. In this case, it's close enough that I can just use a root touch-up powder. There are many options for root touch-up powders out there. I really like the Joan Rivers Great Day hair powder because it lasts forever and it works really well. But I purchased the red in the Joan Rivers powder, which I have right here. So this is how they come, and this one is the Great Day Hair Red, and it's looks like that. It looks more brown than red, and for a kind of a muted auburn, I think that's a fine color. For one that's a little bit more bold like this, I actually found one called Root Flage. This is the refill, which I purchased. I didn't have the original, and it comes in a little tub that's loose, which can make it kind of messy to use. But I just used the brush that came with my Joan Rivers Great Day hair powder, and I just dip it in. And if I get a little bit too much, I kind of tap a little bit off. I'm just using my mirror right now to tap a little bit of it off. And then I just go in and I just paint it over my bio hair. Can you see that? How much that makes a difference? It really works well for these reds. I love this stuff for that. So that is one way that you can disguise if you can see some of your hair in the coverage. I'm going to show you the cap before I start talking about that visible permatease and also some of my theory around a basic cap wig. So here's the cap, no fancy. That's where all the permatease lives. This one has the adjustable ear tabs, but it's made out of that same lace that the front is. And then there's no extended nape and the pull adjusters, and then the rest is wefted. So a challenge that you may have with this cap is it doesn't have any comfort features. So if you don't have any bio hair, keep that in mind. If you have a really sensitive scalp, it might feel a little itchy. I mean, the lace is rough, it's not smooth. And so keep that in mind. It doesn't bother me, but you know, you can see I have bio hair. And so that doesn't bother me at all, but I think it's critical information to know if you have a sensitive scalp. The cap fits me big. This one I think runs a little big. And so if you have the same measurements as I do, which is an average 22-inch circumference, extremely petite over the top of my head, keep that in mind. I have a lot of extra cap up here, a lot. And I did some research before I filmed this review, and I'll talk about that research. But for those of you who don't care to know about all my theory around these basic caps and the pros and the cons and the research I did on this, and I got a little bit of that touch-up powder on me, you can just kind of skip ahead to the part where I show you the outside look, and I also have an out of the box of how Amal looked out of the box. You can just skip ahead. For the rest of you who want to know more about my thoughts on this, first of all, these hair fibers are awesome. They're very silky. They're very realistic. This is a good density. It's like a medium light density, which gives this wig such a realistic appearance. Really realistic. It's not too full, not too thick. And so for those of you for who you want the most realistic looking wig you can get, even if that means it's not perfectly coiffed and styled, Amal is going to be really good for that because she does look super realistic. I actually wore her to work yesterday all day, and I actually got a few compliments, which I don't get compliments every day anymore because a lot of people know I wear wigs. And so I don't know if they just think, oh, it's just another wig or what, but whenever I get compliments, it says something. And yesterday I did get compliments on this one. As far as how she wore all day, Definitely behaved a lot like bio hair. Throughout the course of the day, she lost a little bit of the body I put in her, and that's what bio hair does. And so periodically I went in and I just kind of zhuzhed her up, as my friend Dawn from Daily Dazzle with Dawn says, to give her just a little bit more of that body back. But she behaves very realistically. And then you can see it's not overly thick down here. So from that standpoint, I think Amal looks very realistic. Where I don't think she looks as realistic as a more expensive wig with lots of cap features is the permatease. So I do want to talk about that. And again, it's not because it's a lot of permatease. It really isn't. It's how it appears. So when I got Amal, I noticed you can see the permatease. I'm trying to make sure I don't get too close. Sometimes I get too close and then I get out of the screen. Can you kind of see that permatease right there? So she does have a little bit of that nesty look, okay? And that happens with these basic cap wigs. And here's where I'm gonna deviate a little bit and give you some of my philosophy, because I get messages all the time from women who ask if I know about budget price wigs. Wigs are very expensive, and the more cap features you get, the more expensive they are. And many of us cannot afford to spend $300+ on a wig. $150 is a stretch for many of us. And so I think we have to start to think about what we absolutely need to have in a wig and work that into our budget. For those of you who absolutely need some sort of monofilament or lace front, you're not going to be interested in Amal. She doesn't have those things. For those of you who would love to have those cap features but can't afford them, that's where I think let's have that conversation about what you can do with a basic cap wig. So first of all, there's lots of ways to deal with permatease in any wig. Getting a wide tooth comb in there and really getting into the permatease fibers to lift them off the cap is a huge technique that everybody I watch videos on who has wig wearing experience talks about, because you need to lift those fibers off the permatease. In a curly wig, I have done reviews on curly basic cap wigs that curls disguise that permatease kind of on their own, because they tend to be curly off the cap and then you can't really see the permatease on the cap. So for a curly wig, you know, it's a lot easier, but on a straighter wig like this, permatease can be a challenge to disguise. So getting rooted wigs will help, because a little bit of a darker root with lighter colors all around will disguise that permatease. Another thing, and what I did with Amal, is I gave her more of a severe part. Do you see that? I pulled a few fibers over from the other side, and that, by nature of how I did that, can you tell? You can't see the permatease as much. Up here a little bit, but down here, it's really disguised. And so when I wore her to work yesterday, I really played around with her. I did soak her in water before I wore her because she had a little bit of box hair, and I wanted to see if I could get more curl out of her. She doesn't really have a lot, but she has some soft waves. And then I also took my John Rene Peace Out Cream, which I love for styling wigs. It comes in a black tub now. This is an old version. And then I just kind of put some in, and I helped pull the hair to the side. That helped a lot. But the biggest thing that helped me, quite honestly, is just messing around with that part and getting it more of messy, more of an extreme side part. It made a huge difference. And I do not feel at all self-conscious about this now, because I don't feel like you can see that permatease in the places where people are going to be looking. Whereas the way she came out of the box, you really could. So that's a huge thing you could do, is just mess around with that permatease, mess around with the style and the part, and then get it styled in a way that disguises that permatease. And these are going to be super important things to learn how to do if you're looking to wear wigs on a budget. You know, if you're going to make a huge investment in a wig and you're going to spend $300+ and it's going to be your one wig, or maybe you'll have two, then go for it, because they do look a lot more realistic overall. But if you are on a budget or you want to have multiple wigs for choices, I do think we've got to learn to make peace with these basic cap wigs. There are many, many good qualities about them. The hair fibers are great. I love this style and the fibers. The only thing that's a challenge with Amal is that permatease, honestly, not even the lack of a lace front, because she lays so great. Of course, if I wanted to style her up, I wouldn't, but I don't feel the need to. Tip though, I was doing research. I was watching many videos. I was watching a lot of reviews on Amal, and a Wig Sister put a review out there, and I'm not going to share it right now because it's, quite frankly, because it's from a competing vendor. I think it's a UK vendor though, but I'll share it on my personal page later. She has bio hair in the front. She's very thinning up here, but she still has quite a bit in the front. So she pulled a little bit of her bio hair out, and it blended with the wig and totally disguised the front. If you have bio hair in the front that you can blend, totally do that with these basic caps. Don't shy away from them, because that looked amazing. I don't happen to have enough bio hair in the front to do that, but it looked awesome. So please consider that. Aside from that, I read on many wig seller websites that have reviews. I read reviews on Amal, and overall, Amal has fabulous reviews. 5-star, lots of 5-star, lots of 4-star, very few low reviews. And Amal's been around for years. I think some of the videos I saw out there were from 2015, and back then I think she was new. So the fact that Amal's been around all this time tells me that she's a favorite. She's still selling, because, you know, wig manufacturers are going to discontinue wigs that aren't selling. So I think Amal has a following, and I think she is really cute. If you can get over the permatease, the visible, again, I got to tell you, she's not super poofy. She has some permatease up here. It's not excessive. And evidence of that is the fact that she lays really flat, and she needs a little bit of this throughout the day to keep her body. Permatease will hold style if there's a lot of it. Other than that, she is such a realistic looking wig, you guys. I just like her very much. Do I like her more than a wig with a lace front and a monofilament? Honestly, no, because I love the realistic look of those things. But for a wig that you want that's a good price point, she's fantastic. So for those of you who can't wear lace fronts, and I know a lot of you are out there, or for those that simply cannot afford the price of those wigs, don't overlook Amal, because I think she's got so much value and benefit. And I mean, she's cute, isn't she? And you know, even without that lace front, I mean, you can still style her. You know, you can take fun little clips, keep a little bit of hair down, and, you know, clip up a little bit of it. It's not, you're not without options just because she doesn't have a lace front or monofilament. I mean, there's so much you can do. You can, you know, give her kind of a messy look. So honestly, guys, I know this is really long, but I felt it was super important to talk about how to combat our fears of basic caps, because they do have a place. And this isn't a cheap wig. It's not like a $20 Amazon wig. This is a very high quality, nice wig that has been, the price has been kept low because of the lack of cap features. They didn't skimp on the fibers though, or any of those other things. So that's Amal. So like I said, I did soak her in water. I have put styling product into her. I've messed with her. I've worked on the style to hide the permatease. So stick around, you'll see my out of the box on her. But I think Amal could be a really good wig for a lot of people who like this style. I really do. Other than that, let me know if you have questions, and I definitely wanted to showcase Amal in a good light because I think she's a good wig, but I wanted to talk about the challenges because that's reality. You know, it really is. So stick around for the rest of the video, and thanks so much for watching. Hey guys, okay, so here is Chestnut out in natural light. It's pretty dim because it's morning, but hopefully this will give you a good view outside. It's cold out here. I think it's probably in the 20s. You can see my breath maybe. Starting to get closer and closer to winter here. Look at all the leaves. We've already picked up leaves in my yard 3 times. Very, very vibrant. Lots of copper. So, so pretty. All right, guys, hopefully this was a helpful look at Chestnut. See you later. All right, guys, so here is the out of the box for Amal. I shook her upside down pretty vigorously, and then I took a wide tooth comb and kind of did this. That is all I did with Amal. So you can see what I had to work with in the beginning, which isn't super great. It's not terrible. She's got potential. Again, it's super helpful to see this because if you buy a wig and you look at it and think, what happened? You know that there's some things you can do. I think the trick is, when do you intervene and when do you just return it? That's the tricky part, but I wouldn't return this. I do not see anything about this that is defective. I don't see like problems with the cap. I don't see like sparse parts of the hair. It's really just that the hair has been living in a box, and I can totally see that. So I would not return a wig that came to me looking like this, because I know just soaking it in water is going to help. So I'm going to do some interventions, and you'll have already learned all about that in the first part of this video. See you guys later.